All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 8 of the Raiders Report. I hope everyone is enjoying the return of hockey here in Ottawa, outdoor hockey at least. I sure am. Today, we're joined by former Nepean Raider captain and current NCAA D3 Brockport defenseman, Corey Tam. Corey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. We all do.
No, thank you for having me. It should be fun.
Yeah, no, it's good to provide, some people with a little bit of entertainment to go. At least things are opening up here, at least, but it's always nice to get some people on. So thanks for coming.
No worries.
Just to get going here. So you grew up sort of Nepean, Ottawa region. How would you describe coming up in the city and playing here?
Um, I loved it, to be honest with you. I was never that far from home. It was always a quick 10-minute drive to the rink, to the sportsplex, or a 2-minute drive to the Walter Baker Center. Growing up in the minor hockey association, and then getting drafted by the Raiders, and then having, again, like I said, that 10-minute drive to the sportsplex was awesome.
Yeah.
It was never, like I said, never too far from home. Always had home cooked meals, which I'm kind of missing now, to be honest with you. But no, it was just a great experience.
Yeah, I love coming home for the holidays and getting those meals. It's something else.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Kind of what's going on here in Ottawa, as I mentioned earlier, sort of outdoor rinks kind of opening up again and people allowed to play hockey. Were you ever a big fan of playing on a pond or outdoor rink? Did you ever
Yeah, no, I was. That's where, when I wasn't at the rink, or not doing homework or whatever it was, I was wanting to go to the outdoor rink and just play. That's all it was. Just to get out on the ice and see other people, socialize, and play hockey. Because obviously we all play this sport for a reason, because we all love it.
yeah.
But yeah, no, the outdoor rink was my home away from home, I guess you can call it, when I wasn't actually at the rink.
Yeah, that's great. That's true. Home away from home. That's a good one. You talked about getting drafted by Nepean. How was that experience like?
It was awesome. like growing up, being, I think I was 15 at the time, because it was the year before the OHL draft, and
Right.
never really experienced of being, because at that point hockey is kind of just like you're there for fun, like you don't have to worry about anything, and then you kind of realize, oh, it's like a business type thing, and then when you get drafted, it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of cool to say, hey, I was drafted by this team, and now I get to go play there for the next 4 or 5 years, whatever it may be. And then at the actual draft, being around the table with the coaches, Peter Goulet at the time, and Randy Watt, and everyone else, was eye opening, because they were talking about their previous season, and like what they were going to do and how everything was going to work, and that's when I realized, like, all right, now things are getting really serious. Like, this is a business, type thing. So yeah, it
Yeah.
was it was a surreal moment, though. It was
Yeah,
good.
there's like systems in play now. You gotta really pay attention.
Absolutely. Just
Yeah,
eye.
totally. So I think you joined in 2014, if I'm not wrong, or was it
So
2015?
I played junior B my first year, so 16, and then 2016, I think, would have been my first year.
Oh,
I
okay.
It was a long time ago,
It
to
was a
be honest.
while ago. Yeah, I won't hold it
Whatever
against you.
whatever that my last year was, minus the 4 years, and then fifth year for playing
Yeah,
junior B.
that's
That's
right.
how I do it. But yeah, it was around that time.
Yeah. So I guess I wanted to know what was your experience playing like with Nepean for those few seasons that you were there. Obviously, you got the C on your last season, so I'll get into that a bit later. But just your experience playing there for a few seasons.
It was awesome. Like I said, it was being able to play in my hometown, having my parents come watch every game,
That's huge.
which was awesome. Yeah, they're my whole support system pretty much, which is great. But having them come watch every game, which was is awesome. And then just being around the guys we brought in were great people. Like, my teammate here now in Brockport, Casey Wynn, I played with him for a year, and then coming here and, knowing him, like guys like Felix Broussard, and I know I'm leaving a lot of people out, but those are
Yeah.
like everybody that I've met through my long way in the PN have been wonderful people, and they just made my career there a lot better,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, it was awesome.
That's huge. You talked about a teammate coming over with you. How did that help with the transition process?
Oh, it was made it so much easier.
Yeah, I
Uh,
bet.
it really did. Because now, like, I came here for a visit, and they ended up playing a game, so I only got to see so much of campus, because coaches had to be at the rink getting ready. So
Right.
having knowing Casey, and I was able to come down and get a full tour, and see where I was really coming, and of all the facilities and stuff like that. And then just knowing someone to come here made it a lot easier to move away from home for the first time. Because when I came here 2 years ago now, that was really my first time moving away from home. So it made the transition a lot easier. Knowing that I had the Wynn family in Rochester, again, I could,
Oh, okay.
when I go, yeah, because he's only about half hour from school. So
Oh, okay. Interesting.
sometimes my first year we would go home, we would go back to his place and have like a home cooked meal. So that kind of made, like on my first birthday here, away from my family, we were at his house, and then we came back and did our thing. But it made the transition from leaving home a lot easier.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's always great to not go into situations alone, like in the dark, and it's nice to have a little bit of light. Um,
Absolutely.
that's awesome though. So I just kind of wanted to know about a few like teammates of yours that really stood out to you for no particular reason, but any teammates that have stood out to you. Obviously, you mentioned here in Brockport, but any teammates that stood out to you over the years?
Um, yeah, there's been a lot. So I remember my first year, I had teammates like Brandon Watt and Brandon Belding and Felix Badger and Josh Sizek. Like all those guys made my first year of juniors, or at least first year junior, I should say, sorry, a lot easier to transition to. Whether it was just either me asking a question, them having an answer, or them just kind of saying like, "What's going on?" Like, "You all right?" type thing, or just good play, like just a support system.
Yeah.
And then as I got to be one of those older guys throughout the years, I kind of did the same thing with a whole bunch of other guys. Like my last year, there was Tyler Orban, there was Jeff Dempster, like all sorts of guys. They all stood out because they all kind of had their own unique. Um, I shouldn't say traits, but they're all on the team for a reason. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they played their role to a T. They had fun doing it and just put a smile on our faces and just had a good time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, Talking about that jersey up there with the big C, how did you react to getting the C, and how did it feel to be that guy in the room?
Um, I was, I wouldn't say shocked, but I was happy. Obviously, you're happy when you get to be a part of a leadership role
Hmm.
in an organization such as the PN. It's an honor. Um, and I was lucky enough to have an A my second year, I believe it
Right.
was. But to wear that C, it's a huge honor because the people who wore it before me were all great hockey players, and I just wanted to kind of follow the tradition and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it was a huge honor.
Yeah. They were great hockey players. So are you. So it works out that got handed down to you. You guys did get to the playoffs a few times with Nepean. How was that experience for you, and how did it maybe help you get ready for playing D3?
Oh, in playoffs, obviously, it's a totally different animal. The intensity goes right through the roof during
Yeah.
for the playoffs. But um, the years that we did make playoffs, it was awesome. I know we ended up playing Carlton Place. I think it was my third year, I believe. We played Carlton Place in the first round, and we ended up losing the first game. Sure, I think it was 7-1. So it was pretty ugly. But then we back in game two and we won 2-1 at home, and that was awesome. Like the boys were fired up. We had the horn going. We had a bigger crowd than usual,
Right.
um, and it was just the atmosphere at that rink was just amazing.
Yeah.
But playing playoff hockey did prepare me for school because school is I shouldn't say faster, but there's just men, like bigger men, a little
Yeah.
faster. So that playoff style hockey that we played in juniors definitely prepared me for the transition to school.
Yeah. That's great. Moving on to sort of your time with Brockport and NCAA. You kind of touched on it a little bit, but I'd like to know what different players have opinion on this, and that's what would you say is the biggest difference between your play in the CCHL and then moving to Brockport?
Um, I would say, yeah, like I said, this is the
The speed
size. I
and the
would think
speed. Yeah.
the speed, the size. Um, Obviously, as people get older, they tend to grow. I should say,
Yeah.
maybe not for myself because I think I'm still the same size I was when my first year juniors came along, but they tend to get a little heavier and a little bit faster, and the shots get harder, and But it's kind of like just that. It's pretty simple. It's just the size and speed. But
Hmm.
other than that, if you're able to kind of adapt quickly, you'll be a-okay
Yeah.
in the NCAA.
Yeah. What is your favorite part about playing with Brockport?
Honestly, the group of guys we have. Um, my first year here at Brockport. So the year before I came to Brockport, my apologies. I think they were 7-11 or 7-11 and
Okay.
2 or something like that, whatever it adds up to 25. But they had a below 500 record. And my first year when I came as a freshman was the first year we actually ever reached 15 wins under our Coach Dickinson. So that was a big milestone.
Yeah.
But the group of guys we have is awesome. Like we're just so close knit, and we joke around. We have there's an occasional like disagreement, but
Yeah.
it is what it is when you're among your teammates. But we're all so close. Like we all talk to each other about things. We all go out and have fun. Um, we see each other every day, so it's really the group of guys that makes this kind of being here so special.
Yeah. You hear a lot about in any field, really, you hear a lot about the work you do is complemented by the people you work with. And it's especially the case for hockey, but it's always so much better when you have a group of guys that are good together and that work well. And it's good to hear that you got to have that experience in
Yeah, no,
Brockport.
absolutely, it's perfect.
I have an interesting question. A lot of people actually ask me to ask this to players, so I will start doing it now. Do you have any superstitions or rituals? And what is the craziest ritual or superstition you have seen from somebody?
I wouldn't say superstitions, maybe rituals, but I always listen to so either when we're at home or on the bus, we kind of get to the rink, and I always put I always have one song that I listen to going into the rink. Um,
What song is that?
it's I think it's Mo Bamba. It's just I don't know. It's just something about it that gets me going. It's just I don't know what it is, but
That is a banger.
it is.
That's
Yes,
a
no, I'm
tune.
not funny about that. So I always listen to that walking into the rink, and then I'll kind of find something after that. But and then when I'm getting changed, I always put my left side of my equipment on first
Oh,
before my
okay.
right. I don't know why. It's just what I do. I always tie my left skate before I tie my right skate, left elbow pad before the right elbow pad, and so on.
That's
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, no, but that's really about it. And then same with the sock tape. I always do my left side before my right
Right.
side. Nothing. I don't think hopefully too crazy, but
I think
that's
that's pretty. I've heard some pretty crazy ones, so I
yeah.
think yeah, that's not bad. Have you heard any or seen any of your teammates have crazy rituals that you're just like, what the heck is going on here?
Um, no, not that I realized. To be honest with you, we all play sewer before like we go warm up. But no, some people
Huh?
sit in the stands. Some people tape their sticks. Some people stick handle. But nothing outrageous. Nothing
Yeah.
crazy that I can think of.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Um, so who would you say you shape your game after? It's a tough question,
Um,
but
that is a tough question. But I, I would describe my play as kind of more defensive of a defenseman.
Mhm.
I like to take care of my own end first, and then kind of if I can, I'll jump up in the rush and contribute offensively. But in my mind, it's defensive first, and then get up ice when I can.
Mm.
So in the NHL, I would probably say, to be honest with you, that was put me on the spot there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm trying
It's
to
okay.
think.
I don't expect you to
Yeah, no.
give
So
a
I mean,
direct
that's my
answer.
type of game, though. Is kind of like a defensive defenseman, and then when I can, I'll jump up in the rush.
Yeah. So the reason I asked this, I wanted to lead into another question, which is kind of just talking about your game and what the question was sort of the best part of your game, and then what is something that you think that you want to work on?
Um, I so for working on, I think I could jump up in the rush more and contribute more
Oh, okay.
offensively. That's where I always like to work on. Obviously, foot speed and speed like that. My shot. I got a lot of things that I would like to work on and improve. Not necessarily that they're terrible, but obviously there's always room for improvement. But I think my defensive zone like awareness, kind of figuring out what I need to do is my strength because I take pride in the D zone, like I said, and um, whether that's me going up against the bigger guy and trying to get the puck or covering a bigger guy from preventing him to the front of the net, I take pride in it. So I think that's my strength in my game.
Awesome. Yeah. Great answer. Um, so I wanted to get into quarantine, and I know I'm not sure how much that affected you, but a lot of people kind of take on different projects or hobbies or stuff like that, etc. So, I was just wondering, what kind of is there a skill or a hobby that you picked up during some sort of quarantine that's nice, fun, interesting?
Um, Not no skills particularly, more like a hobby, I guess. I mean, you always have to keep in shape playing hockey, so I worked out a lot. Luckily, when I did get a chance to go home, I did have to do 2 weeks of quarantine.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Coming back from the States, but I had school at the same time, so I was pretty busy with school and continuing to do that and finishing it up with exams and projects and whatnot. But after that, after that, when I was still at home, obviously to have nothing to do, I would work out, um, and that's really about it. And just kind of just hang out. I did start reading a little bit. I did read a couple books, which is new to me, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. Um, Reading wasn't my favorite thing to do, but since I had so much time on my hand, I figured I'd pick up a book and read. But yeah, I was reading and working out probably were the two things I did during quarantine.
Nice. I can't say I worked out, but I did a lot of audiobooks. It's what I got into. Like I was like, I don't want to hold this book, so I'm just gonna put it in my AirPods and listen to it.
Yeah,
And
that's
I actually loved it. It
yeah,
was great. Like I'm just walking somewhere like groceries and I just have a little book in my ears. It's so nice.
absolutely. Yeah, it's something to just keep the mind busy
Yeah.
because sitting around doing nothing can definitely do its damage to people. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
and you're hearing
It's
about it now with all this quarantine and the mental health. So yeah,
yeah,
people
it's
need
a
to.
big part of it. Like it's definitely tough to stay positive when you're kind of cooped up inside for a long time and you can only play so many video games and so many hours of video games. I can tell you that from personal experience.
Absolutely, no, for sure.
But yeah, awesome. That's a great answer. I asked. I love to ask this players this question. I probably ask it almost every podcast. So, um, but it's just like every other profession. You know, looking back on a career, there's always things that you wish you knew. And so, what advice would you give yourself when you were starting off playing hockey?
Honestly, that just to keep working hard, because if you work hard and continue to improve on yourself and your game, you will get noticed. Because I beat myself up a lot growing up, not being the biggest kid or the most skilled kid, whatever it was, because of what I was given with, I should say, that people wouldn't look at me or people wouldn't find me type thing or the OHL or whatnot. But in the end, this if you work hard and you continue to improve and you just never really give up, someone will find you, and that's all that matters. Is whether it's you get to go to the OHL or whether you get to go to the NCAA and continue your education and still get to play the sport you love. It all works out in the end, and just to keep working. That's all it is. Because if you quit at this, then you'll probably won't find success somewhere else. So
Yep,
that's probably
work hard, and that usually is a good start. That's for sure. That's awesome. Do you have any fun road trip stories? Obviously, this is kind of a PG podcast, so, but any fun road trip stories that you have just in the back of your mind?
fun road trip stories. Well, our road trips, we only really have the one overnight road trip from when we go to Potsdam and Plattsburgh. The rest of them are about two and a
Oh,
half,
okay.
maybe
So
three
it's
hours.
not that far then.
No, yeah. So it's kind of nice in the SUNY. So we have, I think our shortest road trip is to Geneseo, and it's 45 minutes, and we're there and back. But the overnights are the fun ones. We have a couple overnights for out of conference, but nothing too major. But no, yeah, there's a couple. You kind of get up to go to the bathroom, and you just see legs crossing the intersection because everybody's sleeping, or
Oh yeah.
just like fun card games, just like pass the time, and people end up getting angry at each other and yelling. But it's nothing outrageous, nothing too crazy. But yeah, nothing at the top of mind that would probably entertain everybody.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, listen, Corey, I really appreciate you, coming on today, and I don't want to take too much of your busy time. You know, get back to your studies and getting ready for that. But I'll just say one last thing. You know, cheering for teams is good, and but I think cheering for players is a little more rewarding and a little better. So, and you're definitely someone that myself and the Raiders are cheering for. So, good luck, and I really hope to see you out there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and hopefully, when we get to play next season, I can do you guys proud.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will.